What's up everybody, Coach Mills here coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down 7 new meta strategies that were incorporated in the first strike qualifiers that you could adopt in your games, getting some guaranteed value and dominating your ranked matches with ease. These are all insanely powerful strategies, so let's break them all down. But before we do, GameLeap.com is the one-stop shop. If you want up-to-date in-depth guides, advanced Radiant Agent courses, and much more, do yourself a favor and go check it out in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, the first big meta strategy that we're gonna break down is Omen team setup. Watch how Omen sets up a flash play, paranoiing through the wall, setting up his team for an easy cross, and it allows for the entire team to get to A site and close the doors without getting in any conflict, and does it with ease. Now, throughout the tournament, we saw a ton of Omen setups, not just like this, but some of them actually executed on kills, where people pushed up on defense, like in Aeon Ascent, or you just have an ally standing nearby to swing off of your paranoia and punish enemies that get caught by it. The important thing about this ability in the first place, if you want to incorporate this in your games, is to set it up with your team and always do it with intent. There needs to be some sort of value that you get out of each and every paranoia. Whether that means hitting enemies with it and having a fellow teammate swing out and try to challenge, or whether that means taking vital map control that can give you an overwhelming advantage in the fights ahead. Either way, Omen setups are one of the most powerful things that you could start doing and incorporating in your game. Now, the next big meta strategy that we're going to break down is actually a two-parter. The first parter is the fact that there is a ton of frenzy use in this tournament. Frenzy has been an actual sleeper in the meta, and the fact that you can rock light armor and a frenzy in that first round allows you to almost 100% convert on at least 1 kill, but typically you can get even more than that, as shown in this clip when Mitch rocking the frenzy gets a 4K on Killjoy. And that's something that's interesting. Killjoy is actually entering here, and you might be asking, why in the world would Killjoy be entering? But the thing is, Killjoy gets a lot of her value on the front end by setting up a turret around B and watching the flank, and then she gets to go in first with something that is almost guaranteed to get her at least 1 kill, and if she dies, that's fine because her teammates will trade out with it. You see, the big problem with the entry in the first place is they often just die, or they'll get a little bit of value and then die, and Killjoy, after she uses her turret, is the weakest character on the team, so she is taking the entry role and using a frenzy as well. So the important takeaways here is, 1, if you are a character that already got their value or doesn't have any abilities anymore, you can adopt that entry fragger role and give your teammates vital information while trying to get kills in the process. And 2, frenzies are something that you should start using more and more. I'm telling you, frenzies are absolutely dominant, and you're gonna start seeing them all over the place in ranked, and you should really start incorporating them yourself. If you double up or hold a cross angle with the frenzy, oftentimes you can just end up getting like 4 kills with the 2 of you and just absolutely dominating the enemy. Now, for this next big meta strategy that we need to break down is about eco. And the thing is, players are not able to ramp, or they don't want to ramp to that 3rd round op nearly as much. So teams that win that first pistol round most of the time are like upgrading almost across the board, and they're buying the best possible setup. You see right here in an instance where Cloud9 buys almost all bulldogs, and that is just one of the best weapons they could buy in their price point. The thing is, you want all your abilities, you want full armor, and then you want to have a weapon that is pretty powerful, and the bulldog scales far better than the Spectre, and that's something that I see a lot. People will flock to the Spectre because they think it's easier than the bulldog. They haven't practiced the bulldog, but the thing is, Spectres really don't scale well. They're very poor. Their time to kill is not that great against full armor, and up against ARs, their effective range is really bad as well. On top of that, there is a big fear of enemy teams forcing, and I think forcing is becoming much more done in ranks in general, where an enemy team will force the buy stingers, they may force up to Spectres and things like that, and you want to make sure that you have the firepower to challenge these people, and the bulldog is a weapon that if the enemy team loses, they can't possibly afford that and rock armor at the same time. So that is the advantage that you bring to the table. You have better range, better time to kill if you hit headshots, and it's just something that you should start practicing more. And don't be afraid to upgrade your eco to guarantee that you win that second round. Far too many people in ranked in particular are winning that first pistol round, the enemy forces that second round, and they end up losing it as a result, and that just can completely mess up your economy. When like 2 of you buy, you lose that second round, and then those 2 people can't buy for the 3rd round. It's just a giant mess. Stay on the same page, upgrade your eco more on that second round. Now, this next big thing that I wanted to break down in this meta video is the use of aggressive abilities to delay executes. You see, the enemy team starts off with an Omen flash, the paranoia, the same way that we talked about before, but what the Phoenix does is he flashes out and he throws up his wall as they back up. At the same time, his allied Sova will spray through even though he's blind to prevent any enemy from pushing through. Not only would the enemy had to 180 the flash, but run through blind in the smoke and survive the spray, so there's no possible way they could pass. And this is important for two things. The first thing is you have perfect information. You know enemies didn't sneak onto point when you weren't spraying or when you were blind, right? And the second thing is it really prevents enemies from pushing in aggressively. And essentially, yes, you're trading these abilities for paranoia, and that's a lot, but it's far better than getting caught off guard, and you have the information about where the enemy team is. A lot of players, especially, I see this in ranked, I see this from VOD reviews, where players, this will happen to a player, and they will have no idea what to do. They're completely lost, they start spraying, they don't use their abilities, and they just die. Well, using your abilities proactively like this and having a game plan for the moment that you get blinded or someone is obviously making a play on you, like a Breach's ultimate or something like that, that can be the difference between them living here or them just getting rolled, giving up this site for free, putting the rest of their teammates in a retake position that they're just not going to win. Now moving on to the next big meta strategy that I wanted to break down from this video, and watch as his teammate baits for an execute. And this is really tricking enemies into poor crosshair placement or engagements. Watch as Caboose or Reyna is forward and soft engaging. And soft engaging is really important to define, because what soft engaging is, you're not trying to take a duel. You're trying to jiggle peek for info, you're putting a little bit of shots here and there, but basically you're not trying to full fight the enemy to where they could back off. You want them to have to push forward. If they want to hard engage you, they have to push their positioning out forward, and that's what soft engaging is. Now, they baited the enemies to swing out, and then Crashies, the Sova, is there at an alternate angle to punish up and get that numbers advantage. This is really, really powerful that you could start incorporating in your games, where you have one player soft engaging, baiting the enemies forward, and as they come forward from an alternate angle, someone else is there to punish them. This is how they got an actual numbers advantage, and this is so powerful. But you could even imagine doing something even more powerful here with like a soft engagement where you bait enemies forward or you coax them forward, and then you have an Omen that flashes from the closable doors towards the orb, flashes the enemies as you and someone else swing out or something like that. You can imagine all these pieces coming together. Soft engaging is something that players don't do enough. A lot of players want to either commit or not commit at all, but it's something that if you set it up with an ally can be absolutely overpowered and can end up in a free kill where someone's just like, oh, this guy's retreating, let's chase him, only to get killed from someone else holding that angle. Now for this next big strategy that happened in the tournament that I really wanted to break down, watch as Sova takes the place of a fallen ally and just holds that position. You see, enemies oftentimes will be checking angles, right? They'll check angles one at a time. They'll check this angle, they'll move to the other angle, check that angle, and if they find someone, they'll kill them and then they'll move on. But watch how Crashy Sova took Caboose's, the Reyna's exact position post his teammate's death and holds it, and then you can really watch how Relic just swipes past it and doesn't check it a second time. In Relic's mind, he already cleared that angle, he already got a kill on that angle, so he wouldn't recheck that angle again, but this is what Crashies counted on, and it allowed him to get a really easy kill. This is actually really strong, because even a player that does all the proper things, has proper diligence, and checks one angle and clears them before they move on, will usually succumb to something like this. How many players would recheck the same angle that they just cleared? And that is exactly what Sova really cashed in on, and I think it's really powerful. Something that you can start adopting in your games is if one of your teammates die in a position, slowly take that position, don't give up your information, but then enemies are much less likely to re-clear a position they already cleared, and you can use that to your advantage to get a free kill, just like Crashies did. Now moving on to the last big meta strategy that I really wanted to break down because it's so freaking amazing, and it's something that you could even set up with just one duo partner and have tons and tons of value. Watch how C9 Mitch holds this middle angle, but he has an alarm bot set right on mid. And watch how his breach is actually ready to activate his flash based on contact. Now, as the alarm bot goes off, the breach flashes instantaneously. And as icing on the cake, as Mitch swings, a follow-up paranoia happens from all the way on A side. And really, right here, look at this play right here, because this is the future of pro and ranked play. It was one alarm bot that instantly set up a flash by breach from really far away in safety that instantly saw a follow-up with paranoia. I mean, imagine if someone else was set up with Mitch here, they would have been able to execute on the entire enemy team here and get like 3 kills at the very minimum. Now, I know that you're not going to always be able to have the same type of synergy that these pro players could have. However, just at a base level, having one paranoia and one teammate, or one breach flash, or one breach flash alarm bot combo, or whatever you're trying to do with just one other person can be so powerful in your average ranked play that enemies are just gonna not know what to do. They don't know how to counter it. They can't combo back with you unless they set it up, and you're gonna be able to get some free kills. And as long as you're not using these abilities without intent, you're doing this on purpose intentionally, not just throwing paranoia out when you hear someone running, or just flashing random corners as breach. I have a feeling that once you pull off one of these combos successfully, you're gonna be addicted to it. You're gonna be shutting down enemies all over the place, and they're gonna get so frustrated where they just get blinded and killed around the corner with basically no counterplay from their perspective. But mastering any of the agents used in the First Strike tournament is a click away when our top 100 Radiant player Tanner has done in-depth agent guides on the GameLeap website. So do yourself a favor and go check it out in the links down below, and let us know what you thought of this video or any suggestions for future videos. I would love to hear your input. But that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time.